Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. It was 3:08 a.m. when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I was half asleep, but when I saw Emily's name light up the screen, I sat up straight. She was supposed to be in Las Vegas for her friend Lauren's bachelorette weekend. 5 women, 1 overpriced hotel suite, spa reservations, and an itinerary full of champagne-fueled nonsense. I wasn't expecting to hear from her until she flew back Sunday. The message preview said, "Don't wait up." I opened it. Just married Daniel. Been sleeping with him for almost a year. You made this too easy with your deadbeat energy and boring life. Enjoy the house, loser. I'm out. Attached was a photo of her and Daniel, a smug prick from her office I always suspected was too friendly, standing in front of a neon-lit chapel, holding up a marriage license like they just won the lottery. I stared at the screen for maybe 20 seconds. No rage, no heartbreak, just a weird kind of clarity. I replied with one word, "Thanks." Then I got to work. Emily never paid attention to finances. That was always Arthur's department. Everything, the house, the joint account, that wasn't actually joint, the utilities, even her credit cards, was tied to my name. By 3:30 a.m., I'd revoked her authorized user status, shut down every card she could touch, and changed every password she ever knew. Email, Uber, you name it. By 4 a.m., I was on the phone with a locksmith. I paid extra for the emergency call. By 5:15, every lock in the house had been replaced, and the garage keypad code was reset. I didn't pack her stuff, not yet. I wanted to do this clean, not petty. Before I went back to bed, I sent a polite little message to HR at their company. Subject line, regarding Daniel Foster's conduct. I attached the photo, Daniel and Emily holding up a marriage certificate outside a Vegas chapel. No explanation, no message body, just the image. Let them draw their own conclusions. Their firm had a strict no relationships policy between coworkers, especially when one of them was in a management position. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. She married my wife in a Vegas chapel with a plastic Elvis. Let's see how long that fairy tale lasts. By 7 a.m., Emily must have figured something was wrong. I got my first call from her around then. I didn't pick up. The second came 5 minutes later, followed by a string of texts. Not angry ones, not yet, just confused. My card got declined at the hotel. What's going on? Arthur? Call me, now. I turned the ringer off and kept making calls. The bank confirmed the account was secure. I moved the rest of the money out of what she thought was our joint account. In reality, an individual account she just had access to. I left enough in there to avoid suspicion until now. No overdraft, no fraud claim, just boundaries. Next, the car. Technically, it was a lease under my name. I used the app to disable remote access and flagged it for pickup. She'd have to Uber from now on. At 8:45, I got a call from Daniel's number. I let it go to voicemail. He left nothing, just silence. I called David, my lawyer. He picked up on the second ring. "You good?" he asked. He already knew. David and I have known each other since college. "Yeah," I said. "She went through with it." "Vegas? Eloped with Daniel Foster from her firm." David didn't say much after that, just got to work. He sent over the post-nup enforcement letter we'd prepared years ago. Emily had signed it without hesitation back then. I never really thought I'd need to use it. Before lunch, I'd set up security cams at every entrance and synced them to my phone. I went room by room, made a list of her belongings. I'd pack them later, keep everything clean and traceable. By noon, I was eating a sandwich and checking the camera feeds, making sure everything was in place. Emily called again. This time she left a voicemail. "Arthur, what the hell are you doing? This is financial abuse. Call me." I didn't. She made her bed. I was just changing the locks under it. The next morning, while I was still asleep, Emily must have flown back from Vegas early. When I woke up, I saw a string of missed calls from her. Then I checked the security footage. She'd tried the front door, then the garage. Nothing worked. She stood there for a few minutes, pacing, then left. It was around 10:30 when I heard the knock. 3 sharp bangs, the kind that don't come from a neighbor. I opened the front door to find 2 uniformed officers, one older, mid-50s, and one younger, probably fresh out of the academy. The older one had his hands on his belt, relaxed but serious. "You Arthur Hale?" he asked. "Yes." "We got a call about a potential domestic dispute. Your wife claims she was locked out of the house without her belongings. Mind if we come in? I stepped aside. Sure, but she's not my wife anymore. They looked at each other, then back at me. I handed the older officer my phone, already queued up to the message Emily sent me from Vegas. He read it slowly, squinting at the screen. Just married Daniel. Been sleeping with him for almost a year. He trailed off and looked up. His eyebrows lifted when he saw the photo of her and Daniel holding up the marriage license outside that tacky Vegas chapel. I explained everything. The timestamp on the message, her confession, the fact that she'd gotten married just hours ago. I told him I hadn't touched her belongings. They were all still in the house. The title was in my name, as were the bank accounts. She was just an authorized user, not a co-owner of anything. They listened, looked through the evidence, and seemed to get the picture. Whatever they expected when they knocked, this wasn't it. One of them asked where she was staying now. I said she wasn't welcome here. That seemed to be enough. They mentioned she was claiming I'd stolen from her. The cards, the car. I explained calmly that everything she used was in my name. I had the documents to back it up. They didn't press it. The older one handed back my phone and said this sounded like something for the lawyers. I agreed. I told them her things would be packed and in the garage that afternoon. They nodded and left without another word. I locked the door behind them and went back to work. Emily showed up around 3 o'clock that afternoon. I saw it all on the camera before they even got to the door. Her, Daniel, and a third person I didn't recognize at first. She looked like Emily, just more tired. That was her sister, Clara. They stood on the porch like they were walking into court. Emily looked like hell. Same outfit from the Vegas photo, smudged eyeliner and flip-flops. Daniel looked like a guy who realized the honeymoon ended before it began. He kept checking his phone like he wanted to disappear. I opened the door just enough to step out and shut it behind me. Didn't need any drama inside. Arthur? Emily started. Her tone was half performative, half exhausted. This is ridiculous. You locked me out of my own home. I crossed my arms. You got married, Emily, in Vegas, to someone else. That tends to change the locks, doesn't it? That doesn't give you the right to... It gives me every right. The house is mine. The accounts are mine. Your things are boxed up in the garage. You've got 90 minutes to take them and go. Clara stepped forward. You're being cruel. She made a mistake. People do dumb things. Clara, stop, Emily snapped. Then she turned back to me. You're trying to ruin me financially. That's abuse. Daniel finally spoke. Look, man, we're just here to pick up her stuff. No need to drag this out. I looked him dead in the eye. Shut up. Just take the stuff and go. His mouth opened, then closed again. Nothing came out. They tried to act like it didn't land, but the mood shifted. Emily glanced at him sideways. When they opened the garage and saw everything packed neatly, Clara muttered, Wow, you really went all out. I like things orderly, I said. They started loading things into a rental van. An hour later, I got a notification on my phone. Declined transaction. U-Haul, $89. Emily's card. Still trying. Daniel paid. His face was tight the whole time. I didn't say goodbye. Just closed the garage door as they drove off. By the end of the week, the real game began. Emily went on a campaign. Instagram posts, teary Facebook videos, cryptic stories, all variations of the same narrative. Arthur was a cold, manipulative man who pushed her into the arms of someone who actually cared. Her sister Clara reposted it all, writing things like, "Believe women," and "You don't know what goes on behind closed doors." For a minute, some people bought it. A few friends texted me, asking if I was okay, but with that tone, the one where they're not really asking. I stayed silent. I didn't play defense. I played for the endgame. 3 days later, I uploaded a drive of screenshots. Chat logs between Emily and Daniel, recovered from an old laptop she forgot to wipe before syncing to our cloud drive, full of gems. I'm draining that idiot's grocery fund. He doesn't even notice. Might cover the wedding dress with it. He still thinks I'm on that yoga retreat. What a joke. And my personal favorite, I'll say he was emotionally distant. No one questions that. Classic divorce setup. I didn't post it publicly. I sent it quietly to the right people. Her boss, her closest friends, Clara. The silence after that was louder than anything. Clara deleted every post. Emily's accounts went private within hours. 2 friends who ghosted me earlier apologized in group chat. One of them said, "Damn, I had no idea she was that calculated." Then came the fallout. An HR contact at their firm forwarded me an email. Daniel had been terminated. The email I sent probably flagged a string of ethical violations, starting with his office relationship and ending with some questionable account activity. Emily got the axe too. Zero tolerance policy. Apparently, HR doesn't mess around over there. Emily must have panicked. That night, she tried to get into the house through the side gate. The new cameras caught everything, her screaming, shaking the handle, yelling about how I owed her. I sent the footage to David, my lawyer. He just replied, "You're bulletproof. Sit tight." I did. Emily sent me one final message the next day. "You destroyed everything. I hope you're proud." I didn't answer. I just archived it and moved on. The courtroom smelled like dry paper and old carpet. Nothing cinematic, no dramatic soundtrack, just stale air and quiet rage. Emily walked in wearing a white blouse like it was symbolic. Daniel didn't show. Word was he'd moved to Scottsdale and was figuring things out, probably with someone new. Her lawyer, some junior associate who looked like he still used a campus meal plan, stood up and started throwing phrases around like emotional duress and psychological manipulation. "Your Honor," he said, "my client was pressured into this Vegas marriage by a man who exploited her vulnerability and convinced her that her current marriage was dead." The judge, a woman in her 60s with absolutely no patience, raised an eyebrow. "Are you referring to the same man she openly admitted to sleeping with for 11 months before the marriage?" The lawyer shuffled. "Well, yes, but that's enough," she said. Then she turned to us. "Mr. Hale, your counsel has provided 74 pages of documentation. Can you confirm the messages are authentic?" David stood up. "We can, Your Honor. Messages, email logs, time-stamped photos, all voluntarily synced to cloud storage linked to Mr. Hale's account. No coercion, no tampering." The judge flipped through the stack. She stopped at a highlighted message and read it aloud. "Can't wait to watch his dumb face when I drain him dry." Emily flinched. Her lawyer went silent. "Ms. Hale," the judge said, "is there a context I should be aware of for this?" Emily looked down. "I was angry," she muttered. "That was venting." The judge didn't blink. "You committed bigamy, attempted financial fraud, and entered a marriage while still legally bound to another. You're lucky Mr. Hale didn't press charges." She granted the divorce, full asset retention to me. Emily walked away with her personal items, and nothing else. I was awarded 6 months of temporary spousal support, reimbursement for the vocational program I funded for her last year, which, ironically, she never finished. Outside the courtroom, Clara avoided eye contact. Emily's mom yelled something about betrayal and God's punishment. I didn't look back. As I stepped outside, David leaned over. "You want to frame that selfie from Vegas?" I smiled. "Already did." 3 weeks after the hearing, the house sold. Got a cash offer way over asking. Market was insane. I didn't even haggle. Just packed, signed the papers, and handed over the keys to a couple from Seattle who thought the place had good energy. Funny, considering what went down inside those walls. I moved into a condo downtown. Smaller place, better view, no ghosts. 2 weeks later, I got a text from Clara. Just said, "I'm sorry. I didn't know everything. I believed her. That was my mistake." I replied, "We all learned something." That was the end of that. Emily, as far as I've heard, is back living with her mother, working part-time at a yoga studio. Daniel's name doesn't come up anymore. Last I heard, he tried to fight the termination and lost. Whatever appeal he filed went nowhere. Looks like HR had more than just the relationship on file. I didn't bother chasing revenge. It wasn't necessary. The truth landed harder than anything I could have planned. I've started dating again. Nothing serious. There's someone from the gym, Sophia. She's sharp, laid back, actually listens when people talk. First date, I told her the story. She laughed, not in a mean way, but like someone who understood what it cost and what it gave back. Some days, I still think about the message Emily sent me that night from Vegas. I've got it saved in a folder, just in case. Every time I read it, I remember how calm I felt after. She thought she was setting the fire. Turns out, she handed me the extinguisher and the exit key at the same time. Cool, right? Yeah, cool. Thank you for watching.